Good afternoon. We knew this trial was going to go on for a long time. This was quite possibly the only trial that was going to be able to hit without any type of hangups from his legal wrangling by his own hand. Again, all of this stuff was brought on him. It was his fault. He did all of this stuff. He brought it on himself. It seems that his great superpower is actually going to court. It is always in court a very, very, very bad idea and a very bad thing. When you have these many counts and your deliberation comes back that quick, chances are you're guilty of everything. Like as soon as I think it was Renaissance Man, wasn't it Nagone who said it in the group chat that there has been a verdict?
Uh, I think it was him, or maybe it was Mike.
No, no, no. It was him, and I
Okay.
immediately said he's guilty on everything. I mean, it's obvious to me, and it's obvious to anybody who was paying attention that he was guilty on everything. With all this legal wrangling, all this lying, all this threatening people and threatening the court staff and trying to, you know, let go like the client list and all this kind of stuff. This is what happens when you go to court. This is why your day in court should come very quickly and very swiftly. So that way you stop things like this from happening.
Yeah, that's
You
correct.
simply, if you're innocent, it shouldn't be a problem for you to come out and come to court very quickly and decide your innocence. And if you're guilty, this is what we have.
Totally agree. That's exactly how this should. That's exactly how this should be. And swift and speedy trial is what you need. But people are sitting here saying, "Hey, this is some kind of kangaroo court or whatever." Hey, look, people don't like when decisions are made, and if they don't go your way, they don't go your way. But
Yeah.
this decision right here, overwhelming as it was, and we were talking about it earlier. This the Southern District is no joke. They don't play around. They've prosecuted everyone from mobsters to other myriad of different types of criminals to now even presidents. They don't they're very serious. They don't play around, and they're not going to enable you.
Yeah. So for the analysis of the case, it's pretty much there was only three people that was needed to be called. I'm not sure why the case took this long to actually. I'm not sure why the prosecutor went through so many witnesses. The only three witnesses that matter was Michael Cohen, David Pecker, and Hope Hicks. I'm not sure why they would put Stormy Daniels on the stand like that and try to cross-examine her. I think that was a very stupid idea for the defense to have like a back and forth with her. I think that was incredibly stupid. But I don't think I think that Donald Trump paid those people to put on the type of show that he wanted to see play out. Not really a competent defense. What do you think about that?
Absolutely, absolutely true. Absolutely, did not have the A team in there. That Stormy Daniels dust up was ridiculous. I don't believe his attorney was was very sharp at all. I just do not think that they did a very good job in this case. Though they had a lot of serious evidence against them. Um, I do not think that they had a very strong team, but you know, we can go over that all night long. But at the end of the day, I don't think the job was done sufficiently to where you could have gotten him off. Though I think just by the preponderance of evidence, he wasn't going to get off anyway.
I mean, the evidence was too overwhelming. And also, Michael Cohen has always served time for this actual thing already. And this case would have actually went on immediately, but he was president of the United States, and I got all these obligations, and that's how come the case didn't go on a lot sooner than it did. But he was already guilty because if they've already done this with him, and he already went to prison over it already, there wasn't a case here. So this dude probably spent millions of dollars for absolutely no reason.
That is absolutely the case. I was talking with my cousin. He's an attorney, and we were kind of going over some of what this some of what this looked like, and he was saying, you really don't want this was his attorney, and he was and he knew where all the bodies were buried, as they say, and when you have him getting on the stand, literally testifying against you, people can always come in there and say, is there a credibility issue here? But when you listen to it and you saw some of the stuff that he said actually on the phone, of which was taped, it's hard to kind of get past those tapes as well. It's hard to get past that. So he
Never
did
piss
have
off your
those.
personal attorney, man. Never piss off your personal attorney who knows where everything is at. You're in some serious trouble. If that stuff happens, man, you're in some serious trouble.
Yeah, you're gonna have a
Serious.
problem. You are gonna have a very serious problem.
And he
Um,
served time.
he
Already
served
served
time.
time.
He served time. He served time, and
And
was
then
barred
Trump
as
threw
well.
him under the bus after he got out.
Sure did.
And that's when Cohen just kind of flipped out. This dude
Cohen was
gave
like,
his whole life in service to this guy. Like that guy's credibility is shot kind of everywhere. He can't really like outside this punditry stuff he's doing for like the Midas Touch Network. That dude really can't go nowhere.
no. He wrote his own book. He's doing
Yes.
punditry. Um, I'm sure there are some people in the law who may call him up as a consultant, where he can do some work for them, legal work, not as an attorney, but as a consultant, of which he would be actually legally able to do. But he can't sign any documents or sign off anything because he doesn't have a license. So he can't do that. But he can act as a as a um, as a consultant potentially. But some firms will look at him, but overall his career in the legal field and so forth is done. He's done. So yeah, he came out and gave some very, very strong testimony against Trump, and he had a lot of evidence in which to back it up. And that's your attorney. He's going to know a lot of things that others are just not going to know.
Yeah. Did so Latin American. Does anybody know who that is? I've never seen this guy around here ever before. Does anybody know who that is? He's trying to come on the show. I don't know who that is.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, make sure I hit the like button upon coming in. Hold on a second. Let's see what this dude has to say, if anything. Hold on a second. Because this could be very quick. Hold on a second. Where's the branding? Hold on a second. Yeah, I think Hope Hicks was probably, yeah, her career is kind of done too. Because she came in and testified. And you can't really say that it's her fault.
No, no, absolutely not. No.
David Pecker, man, like, I get the play. I really do get the play that All right, hold on a second. I'm trying to. Yeah, what's going on, man?
Hey, how are you? Good
I'm doing all right.
afternoon, almost evening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we're doing the show, so we'll come back. We'll come back to you. But so so what do you think about this David Pecker guy? Like, I get the play. Like, you want to find every bad story out there about you, and you wanted to buy out the story so no one can ever have it and get rid of it. I understand that.
Right,
Actually, I think everybody does that.
right.
Well, I mean, but getting caught is illegal. Apparently. I mean, but he violated the explicit laws of New York by actually doing that. So what do you have to say about that, distro?
Well, I think he violated those laws. That's precisely what he did. So that was problematic. Um, MOT really. I mean, we're sitting here talking about it. In all honesty, I gotta say, I don't. What do you think? What do you believe these guys were really able to do? I mean, they came back 34 zilch. I mean,
Quickly,
So,
34-0. Yeah, go
uh,
ahead, sir. Yeah, go ahead, man.
well, let me introduce myself and give you a little perspective of where I'm coming from and what I do. So, it gives you a better um, sense of why I will give the analysis or opinion in regards of the Trump verdict. Uh, just real quickly, I'm Latin American. I am in Central America. I work issues of human rights, drug policy reform, and political analysis. I have been doing so for the past 25 years of my life. I've worked in different congresses throughout Latin America, also assisting different civil organizations in matters of human rights, migration, etc. So just to give you that perspective, uh, as soon as the verdict came in, 99.9% of the newsletters and shows and everything in Latin America, boom, started announcing it. Um, and various reactions in Latin America is finally, the United States shows us that they can process an ex-president for actions that go against the law. Here in Latin America, in the last, I would say, 30, 40 years, even a little bit more, we've we've had, we processed Fujimori, we processed Martinelli recently in Panama. My own country, Costa Rica, had processed three ex-presidents for cases of corruption, etc. So we this is the first time in 200 and some odd years that we've ever seen United States process an ex-president for breaking the law. So in one way, for us, this is a interesting message. Is United States finally going to catch up in putting your own political system to accountability?
Of course not. I mean, like, he did way too much stuff. This is the reason why he got caught, right? So it's kind of like, okay, they locked up the person who was in, what was it, Korea. They locked that person up. We have a lot of ex-governors after the fact. Illinois is a very good state in the United States that don't have any problem locking up governors who do things wrong. But at the end of the day, this guy was going to keep doing. He did so much stuff that this is almost minor what he's getting caught on now in
um,
in the corruption department.
that
That's
is
just my
true.
opinion on it.
This is the first president we've had in our history. I mean, we've had congressmen, we've
Oh yeah.
had maybe one or two senators, but we've had a few who've been caught up. But as far as presidents, we haven't had this. This is historical here.
It
So
is.
and
Yeah,
from
but
a
here's the
stand,
other thing about why it's unprecedented. Normally, you don't, because in politics, once you go against the party, you're done, like, forever. You can't even work for the opposition. So it's kind of like it's big on the people who did come forward, especially like Hope Hicks, who's like an institution within those people. Like, he
Mhm.
didn't attack her, but you normally don't have people who want to come forward to testify against the person. They just plead the fifth. So this is very different that you had willing participants who wanted to come forward on both sides. And
Yeah,
he had his own attorney serve time already. And this is why I think this is very different because they, the person who was the insider of the inside guy could have went to jail, could have kept his mouth closed, but Trump threw him under the bus like nearly immediately once he was in jail. That guy was going to be on a vengeance once he got out, and he was. Like Trump didn't have to do all the stuff that he did, but he still needed to distance himself away from it. I mean, like, how would you feel if your boss actually asked you to go do something, you get thrown in prison over it, and the guy act like he doesn't know you the moment you get locked up? There ain't no way that you're not gonna come out here and try to get that dude locked up as soon as you get out.
yeah.
He
A quick
he didn't
question,
protect those people. Yeah, go ahead.
if I may. Do you consider that the process that um, Trump lived in New York was in accordance with the due process, that he was allowed to defend himself, that everything was done accordingly to the ways not only federally expected but also state-wise expected in his days of court, or it
No,
or is there something more in regards of those comments that this was a kangaroo political court, yada 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 type of thing?
no. I mean, it was a kangaroo court because it took him this long to get brought to justice. This stuff happened 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah,
Actually, 7 or 8 years ago at this point. So if there was actual due process, he would have been prosecuted alongside Michael Cohen because he was, if you read the indictment, he was
Mhm.
unindicted co-conspirator number one. That's who Donald Trump was, the person who ordered it. It's
Yeah,
kind of like in the mafia, if you order a hit, the guy who does the hit is going to jail, and the person who actually orders the hit is normally prosecuted with the guy who ordered the hit, and they both prosecuted at the same time.
that's correct.
Cohen went to jail years ago. Trump just not getting his day in court. So no, this is not. It still isn't due process because it took forever, and he did all this legal maneuvering. There's a whole bunch of evidence that was not allowed in the actual courtroom as well. He won a lot of motions, even though the evidence was overwhelming. There was a lot of motions that he still got in his favor that did not allow even more testimony to go on. So even with this case that seemed to be rock solid, there was still some stuff that was pretty much left out. And no, this isn't due process because if anybody, no one else can use the excuse, well, I have to go to work. That's how come I can't get prosecuted for a job for for the wrongdoing that I did. Like no one has that excuse, but he seemed to have had it for a while, and he was using each case to play off each other case to stop due process from going on. I mean, if we actually had due process, the January 6th trial would have been the first trial to go to court when it was supposed to. There wouldn't be no legal wrangling about how I have immunity or any of that other stuff. All the other courts did their job. There was the Supreme Court who decided to take up the case to hear these stupid arguments and then turn around. They're going to pretty much kick it back to the lower court, which means to say that it never should have went to the Supreme Court in the first place.
Okay.
I don't know if you are familiar with what happened with Nicolas Sarkozy, the ex-president of France.
Yes.
Um, that process took about 10 years for it to go to court and then get processed into it until a court decision. Yeah, difference is France does not work with a common law type of structure. It works with a normative structure. So the court has no jury whatsoever. It's you, the prosecution, in front of a judge or a group of judges. And in this type of circumstance, I understand what you tell me, but I can also see it from a processal, judicial processal. Sorry if I'm saying that word wrong. El proceso judicial, or the
Por eso,
judicial
verdad,
judicial process,
verdad.
um, from the get go, from the structure of how DAs work and the elements that need to be done, established, etc. But of course, I talk from a experience and knowledge because I graduated law. I know law, but I know the Latin American law. I know the Greco-Roman system. I know the common law system because I've studied it and I enjoy studying it. But
Dicho,
mhm,
me gustaría
sorry.
saber, ¿usted es un abogado en su país?
En mi propio país, sí, bueno, yo tengo mi bachiller en abogacía, pues
¿La verdad?
sí.
¿Cuánto tiempo usted queda aquí, Estados Unidos?
No, yo no estoy en Estados Unidos, yo te estoy llamando desde Costa Rica.
Ah, de
Yo
Costa Rica
viví,
ahora.
yo
Ah, verdad.
viví en tres ocasiones de mi vida he vivido en Estados Unidos, viví en Washington DC, viví en Nueva York y viví en Los Ángeles.
Ah, ¿dónde tú trabajas?
Yo trabajo por mi cuenta.
Ah, verdad. Ok, muy interesante, muy interesante.
Okay. Let's get to
Okay, okay, go
Michael
ahead, sir.
Merriweather's question. All right. The reason why this stuff went on so long, Michael Merriweather, is because Trump put up these excuses and these artificial roadblocks so that way this stuff can go on that long. He did this. He could have went to trial with Michael Cohen. He was the one who made the legal arguments. And remember, this dude is a master at extending things so that way it won't go the way it's supposed to go. This dude is a master of pushing things out and making things more expensive than it needs to be. And then all of a sudden they drop the case. This has been his life for the past 50 years
That's right.
of how he always have done business in court. So it was him. It's kind of like right now, how come we can't hear the January 6th trial? He made that possible. He asserted that he had some type of flimsy level of immunity. He did all this stuff. The court didn't do this stuff. He did all this stuff. And whenever you make specious arguments, it has to be challenged up to other courts, and then there's process. And now you have this 6-3 conservative Supreme Court, and they decided to take up the case. They only took up the case. They know damn well that they was not going to give the president any type of immunity, but it did stop the prosecutorial action from actually going forward.
Mhm.
And
The-
here's another thing, Michael. Wait, hold on.
mhm.
Let's go with this. Yeah, let's stay with the current conversation. Let's not talk about other things. All right, and this right here, this is a made-up standard. The voting public of the American people has never been a standard for anything. This is a made-up standard. The only person who usurped the people was Donald Trump by not going to trial on time. If these trials would have went on like they were supposed to in January for the for one case, March for the actual January 6th case, May for the actual documents case, and of course this case right here that currently just concluded, both of those cases supposed to run concurrently. He was the reason why that those things happened. He was also the reason why those things took that long because there's a lot of legal wrangling that goes back and forth because he was going to try to use the fact that this is so close to an election. Remember, he made it so that way it would be this close to an election. It's not like the judge don't know how to do their job, the prosecutors don't know how to do their job, the defense don't know how to do their job. He kept punting the ball so that way this stuff could come up just like it did come up.
That's right.
He
That's
did
right.
all this himself.
That's right.
Like normal cases doesn't take to prosecute. I mean, especially when you look at like Menendez, there was an actual claim, then there's an actual trial. Not that long to take, right? Because he ain't got millions of dollars in his own private law firm in house that's going to make these things, you know, go away. And you have to realize that prosecutors are some of the most, I hate to say it, incompetent lawyers when it comes to fighting against things like this.
Hmm.
And
And don't you think that it's one after another? Because what was it? 2 3 months ago, it was the sentence for the case of SA that was against him, and
yes,
civilly he had what was it? 700 million. I don't remember the exact amount. Then I
no.
just recently
The
heard that
Renaissance
was
man, you got the
reduced.
camera on. Okay, all right. He turned the camera off. All right.
Okay.
So for that case specifically, it was supposed to be a $5 million judgment.
Yeah.
He took it back to court, and taking it back to court, he kept slandering the person, right? So they just kept suing him over and over again. Now, if
and
he would
became
have
a.
took the $5 million payout in the first beginning, there would not have been a second trial.
That's exactly
Again,
right.
that's his fault.
Exactly.
An
That's his.
So now
unforced
that
error.
5 million turned into 75 million
An
because
unforced
he
error.
he did. What's going on, Renaissance man? What's going on, man?
As they say, for a man who brags that he hires only the best, so far he has shown that his lawyers that he has hired are either incompetent or completely and utterly incapable in every single way. Because this two last hits in this 6 months of this year, almost 6 months of this year, clearly shows that Trump hasn't had his day in his court and has failed to prove his innocence.
No, I mean he doesn't want the court to move forward. Like he put all these legal roadblocks in the way so that way things can't happen. And you are correct, Roosevelt. He did do all that. And that case, the most important case, because of the legal wrangling, another case went before that case. So the will of the people to hear the actual case of whether or whether not you're supposed to even be running for the president, the actual Supreme Court decided that the 14th Amendment didn't matter. The 14th Amendment was created specifically for this situation, and the Supreme Court clearly said that no, we're not going to follow the Constitution. That's what happened. He actually kicked it up to the people who did not recuse themselves from the case, and it came back the way it came back in his favor. And this is why you have to recuse yourself from cases. And it's like the recusal process didn't even happen. Now we're finding out Samuel Alito was flying flags above his property during the whole January 6th thing. And it's like, what is this? We just found out about this now? This guy's
Un
not recusing himself against any case. Neither is Clarence Thomas. His wife was
unfucking
actually
believable.
texting back and forth with them. He's not even being recused or even being forced off it. It's like, what are
Unbelievable.
we doing here? This is
Unbelievable.
crazy.
Unbelievable.
In
Unbelievable.
in your position, particular this recent effects with Trump, at 7 months away from your United States election, how do you project, or what could the possibilities be, the major possibilities
Now, he
when
lost the
that
election.
election hits?
No. This election is over. The only people who don't think the election is over is the people who have to sell ad time on TV. Those are the only people who have done that. Remember, 1 in 5 said that they wasn't going to vote for the guy if he was convicted of a crime. That's a crime, not 34 counts. That's pretty damn clear. That they've already said that he was going to lose the suburban white woman vote if he ever got convicted. So you done lost the undecideds. You done lost the so-called people in the middle. And the actual libertarians are not going to vote for you. I mean, okay, they're making this play, but they're not putting people who are black who's voting the couch. The voting the couch people are the people who they're trying to make it look like are legitimate parts of the political process when they clearly are not. He doesn't have a coalition of 2020 or even 2016 that's going to be here for 2024. The coalition ain't there. That whole coalition went out the window the moment that they announced his verdict. He is not going to win the presidency.
What has always interested me in the common law, especially in the United States, in this type of matters, is that, for example, in my areas, a public servant that has been sentenced for corruption, it's not only sentenced to jail or the usual, but it's also it immediately it's imposed by a constitutional norm that that person cannot occupy any public office for 5, 6, 10, or life.
Yeah, but we don't
I
have those type of laws and rules in the actual country. Like a
Yeah, and
person can be a
you're
convicted felon, and they've already said that a person was a convicted felon in prison, ran for the
ex-
presidency in prison, got 1 million votes. So we've
exactly.
already had this like case law that actually put that to the test.
So
And
Congress needs to run and start implementing something that
the
would
Congress
enable
is
that.
ran by the actual party of the actual president, right, the former president.
Yeah, the Biden. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Biden,
Correct.
Trump.
No. The Republican Party is the majority in the House
Yeah,
as of right
yeah,
now, and
yeah.
they're
I'm
not
sorry.
going to put any laws and rules in place that's going to actually stop him from 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 actually. And then you know what? Even if you did, he'll just appeal that stuff all the way to his 6-3 Supreme Court that is bought and
Uh-huh.
paid for, and that stuff won't happen. So my prediction: he doesn't get any jail time. I think he'll get like some home confinement or something, and that'll be served out once the election is actually over. That's my
Much.
prediction. But then again, it's 34 separate felony counts. I don't care if it's an E class felony or not. It's still 34 separate felony counts that you was found guilty on. If that was me or you or Renaissance Man or the Gone, we would be looking at 10 to 15 years, easy, regardless of what our background was.
Oh,
No, more than that.
that's for sure.
More than that. You got to think because 4 years is the max. So even if they just gave him a
Each
year,
charge, yeah, each charge.
It's isn't it 4 years max on each count? So it would be like 30 something years.
But it all
Yes,
depends because
definitely.
if they run it concurrently,
Oh
um,
yeah, it's
Because
not gonna run concurrently. It's gonna be a reduced sentence, especially because of his age.
no,
Most
no, no, no,
probably.
no, no, no. That doesn't come into account. Like
it,
here, it's 1 to 4 years per count, and it's 34 of them in total. So what they're saying is, no matter what the actual thing is for one count, it's going to be that for all counts, and it's going to be served together. It's not like he's going
Yeah,
to get 2 years for one thing and 3 years for another thing. Man, you
no,
got
of
your camera
course.
on, dude.
I'm
Michael Merriweather,
uh
you got your camera on.
no, I was gonna say MOT, your background is showing. You can't see the you can't see anybody on the screen. You see this
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you, yeah, yeah,
the image.
you got the green gorilla showing there. MLT.
Yeah. All right.
If you want to take it off your screen.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that dude didn't come up here and get butt naked. You know what I'm saying? But all right, it does happen
No,
around here.
No,
it
I was
can
gonna say
happen.
no,
I
I was
can
gonna say
understand you.
Yeah.
no,
What's going on, Michael Merriweather? What's going on, man? Thanks for
Hey,
coming on.
how you guys doing? I'm not coming up to kick up a lot of dust, but
No,
I'm
that's
just
cool, man.
coming.
Hey, man. Look, ask your questions, and we got to have a dialogue about what happened, and that's what
Okay,
this show's about.
sure, sure. I was just hold on for a second. I'm starting this car up. So I was just coming up basically to give a sentiment of like the people that I talk to on a daily basis. Cause like when I stop working, I get out and do Uber almost like 4 days out of the week. And I do it mainly from the airport here in St. Louis,
Oh, okay.
Missouri. So I'm talking to people from all across the country. And I'm gonna tell you, overwhelmingly, the suburban white business male professional, they're not with Trump. I mean, they're not with Biden. The
Oh no,
guy
I
that has
I
the
know they're
two
not.
kids and the wife that lives in suburbia with the $400,000 home in middle America, they're not with Biden.
Yeah, but that's in St. Louis. I mean, but we're talking
No, no,
about
no. Remember,
what?
I told you I work from the airport. So I'm
Correct,
picking up people from all over the country, taking them to their hotels.
Yeah.
correct.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm picking up
Yeah.
people from not only like say Pittsburgh or Philly, but I'm picking up people from Nashville. I'm picking up people from LA. I'm picking up people from New York. So I'm trying to get
Oh, you just blanked out for a second there. Is that me?
No. I think he went through a little drop zone there.
Yeah. Like I'm in St. Louis a lot. I go to that Forestdale Freightliner over there a lot, and I pick up near that airport as well. So I get what you're saying, man, but that is Missouri. Missouri's already kind of a called state. We're talking about like in Colorado is different, and Michigan is different, in Wisconsin it's definitely different. Like military industrial complex, those type of people, and like it's way different now that this is an actual charge, and it's not up for grabs now. The dude is a convicted felon now. This is too much for even evangelical Christians to take. That's the real base of the party, evil evangelical Christians, and they
I,
even have a hard time with this.
I'm going to say this, and some may not like it, but the reality is, Trump does represent the last true, real white man in America. That's what he represents. White males are going to support a lot of that. The white women, some of them who we would think who wouldn't, some of them are going to support some of this. So I'm not, I'm just breaking out as to what kind of Trump's base and kind of appeal is. He's gonna grab a lot of those middle Americans. I don't think Meriwether's too far off the mark on that. Where I do see a real issue coming in is where he's going to have to get a certain independent vote, and this um and this mark against him is going to influence him. Now it's not going to influence him huge, but let's say 6-7% on the side. That's going to be that
At
could be
least, at least 5%, man.
that could be something to really to hurt him. Let's just see. I was disturbed the other night. I was talking to my grandson. We were going in and just talking about school and stuff, and then I started talking about politics, and he said, Trump seems, when you look at the media, Trump seems cool. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, Trump seems cool, on TikTok and all this. They're always saying good things about him. So, it looks like, he's getting into some pretty good stuff. I know I have to look deeper into what he's doing, but, it seems like he's cool on the media. So I'm sitting here saying that's a factor. People are looking at this as it being a factor there. So, and here's a 15-year-old kid breaking it down. Not that not that he can vote or support, but it's just very interesting to hear that out of the mouth of babes, if you will. So, so he does have some pull. He does have some level of support. How much this is going to affect him, I don't think this is going to be a 20-point sweep for him or anything, but I think it will hit him 5, 6, 7 points. That could be the difference. It will affect him, but I don't think. Let's just put it like this: I do not think that Biden and that side of the fence can sit back here and take a victory lap. I really don't think that they can as well, and I'm just going to
Can,
put it out there. All right,
can
go
I
ahead.
address? Can I address one more thing?
Go
They're
ahead.
good.
One more thing I think is very important to people like in the Rust Belt, Middle America, and maybe even down south. People know, because MOT, I hit you with this on a comment. People know who has done the research. We know that in 2021, when President Biden got into office, he did a lot of Trump's border policies. People in Chicago, Boston, Detroit, um, Los Angeles, New York are understanding now that these asylum seekers are here, and they are basically undermining the American worker with them being able to work for a lower wage. Even in Uber, they have cut the pay because they have ushered these people in, and they do the whole segment of like Uber Eats. So that pay has gone way down because these guys are working all day and maybe doing like 11 or 12 hours and maybe making $130, where they couldn't get people before to do that. But they're
Well,
giving these people cars, and they're working illegally doing this because they're working under people's accounts. Uber and Lyft know about this, but this is a thing that Americans
That's an
are
illegal
seeing.
employer problem, though.
Yeah.
Like me, I don't think there's an illegal immigration problem. I think there's an illegal employer problem. If they had no place
And
to work, or when they come here, like
mhm.
it is the employers that you have to like mandatory actual I-9 system and those type of things. But
But those
the same,
employers are the ones that are backing up Biden, and everybody knows that.
If I may address that for a quick moment, as somebody
Everybody
in,
knows that.
uh, I just want to address your point there, my friend. As somebody who's in Central America and who has in the last years worked with the different caravans and the different mobilizations of people moving from the Darien up to the United States. The policies of United States that have incremented and aggravated the displacement of people, forcing then the mobilization of those people towards the north, particularly here in the Western Hemisphere, has been ongoing for the past 74 years. Let's just be
Yes, like these
open
are not new
about it.
issues.
It's
Yeah,
nothing
these are not
new.
new issues.
It
Then
is new. It
hold
is
on,
new.
give me a
It is
moment.
new because Trump had the Wait in Mexico plan policy intact in 2019 when that passed.
Yeah,
I
but
did the research.
that's not
I did the
necessary.
research.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily indicative of having an impact on specifically black men.
It did have an impact. It
On
had an
black
impact because
are black
he
are black
wasn't letting
men
all these
competing
people in like this.
are black men competing for jobs delivering for Uber Eats? Is that where we
Yes,
are right
there
now?
are a lot of black
Okay,
men that are doing Uber and all facets. Uber
so
Freight for the truckers, Uber Eat, and because you have all those options when you drive Uber. Uber was having a problem not having people doing those eats because they were trying to offer like $2 for a delivery, and you might sit in McDonald's line for like 20 minutes, and you have to be dependent on somebody to tip. So people had stopped doing it. Now that you got this influx of these people in here, and they're working under other people's accounts, yeah,
okay,
come on,
so
man.
let me
Uber has been cracking down. Uber and Lyft have been cracking down on that immensely, and I see somebody who actually made a comment on that
They
here.
have not done
yeah,
enough. They have
okay,
not done enough.
They've been
It's
cracking on
still
that
being
immensely.
effective. Let me
let me
tell you something, man. I can show you guys my 1099. Last year I cleared 136,000 gross doing Uber. And that
so
But
I got to work
but
harder
there
now because when these people started coming in, man, it's down. The pay is
but
down.
but couldn't it all, Michael? Couldn't it also be that inflation is up, so people are doing less ordering, like the demand?
No,
in fact, let me
no,
address
Wait,
points there.
why do you?
no.
Uh,
There's more
But
people, sir.
no,
There's
no,
more
I'm saying
people.
no. I'm saying literally. I saw an article today that said 80% of Americans consider eating out like fast food a luxury because people are feeling the pinch
I understand what you're
of
saying.
fast food. So I'm saying,
That's not all that people do when they're on the platform is what I'm saying though. You have
no,
the
but I'm
option to do pick up people, move freight, or be a courier and pick up people.
but I'm saying, why are you
And I'm
attributing it?
saying that the pay is down. Uber has cut the pay to what they're paying the drivers.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think that
but what do immigrants have to do with that? That's what I'm not.
Because
Yeah.
I just told you, sir. I just told you
No,
they're
but
working
I mean, yeah,
illegally. They're working
Okay, well, let me
illegally,
give you
and
an
they're
example.
taking
Like,
these low wage pay.
couldn't they
okay, well,
also?
let me
Couldn't
give you an
Uber
example. Wait, hold,
also?
hold, 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 hold a second.
yeah,
One second.
I'll
Okay.
ask the floor
All right.
afterwards, please.
All right. So here's the thing. When Uber Freight became a thing, they were paying $3 a mile. $3 a mile when they first started. They got all those
Mm-hmm.
people over there on their shit. And you know what they did? Drop the wages. It had nothing to
Yep.
do with immigration. It had everything to do with all the people that they got over there hooked on that cheap, easy freight, and then they dropped the actual thing across the board because they knew people were still going to go for that work because it was easy. Now, right now, I would never do Uber Freight now. But when it first
Of
came out,
course.
I'm not.
Uh-huh.
It's like Uber Freight did that, Truck Smarter did that, like Project 44 did that, Trucker Tools did that, Macro Point did like do all these people who offered loads along with their tracking services, all their stuff went down across the board. You want to know why? The whole industry got together and said, you know what? We about to get paid because now we got all these people hooked on this easy freight, and now they just turn around and just paying people anything. Like right now,
Right.
all right, I'm looking at the app right now. A load they used to pay from like, because right now I'm on my way to Fort Wayne from what do you call this? Newark. Picked up in Newark, going to Fort Wayne. Now I used to have that at $1,800. I've seen this same load coming
Mm-hmm.
from the same person. They're now paying $900 for that. And guess what? That load is up there 1 second and it's gone. You want to know why? There is a whole bunch of Russians and anyone else. Like, dude, this stuff got uber competitive.
Seeks.
And yeah, Seeks
Yeah,
and,
that
and
you
all
got a
all
whole
these
bunch
people.
of. Oh, hey, MOT. I know my brother been a trucker for like 30 years, so I know he's an owner operator. I know what's going on, and that's affecting you all too because you got all these foreigners in here, man, and
But at the
some
end
of
of
them
the
don't even
day,
need.
but at the end of the day, you know what I did? I had to be the top line person to get the contract. I go in with 10, 15 people. I'm
So
sorry to
if
tell people this.
I want to address
Wait,
2
hold
points.
on, sir, sir.
Sorry.
We're not done yet. All right. So let me tell you how we got back at these people. So what I would do, or what we would do as a group, is I would go get the load. Like I would book the same load for 900. I would
Yeah.
wait all the way up until okay. I would go get the load. I would go to the customer. I would steal the customer from the actual broker. And by the
Right.
time I've actually canceled the load, somebody else who I know from my group has already booked the same load for twice the amount of money that they tried to do it for me for. And I would
Yes,
cancel their
sir.
load.
Yeah.
And
But you know
that's how
what
we
those
got
brokers
back
do?
at them. No, no,
But you
but,
know what those
but what I'm
brokers
saying,
do?
like, hold
They'll
on,
try to
Michael,
if they
Michael,
offer. Yeah.
Michael.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is you got to change tactics when these things are happening. We already had this stuff down about how we was going to screw over a whole bunch of big brokers. We was gonna go in here, we was gonna see where all this stuff was, we was gonna book this stuff, and we was gonna send each other's actual 3PLs over there as a person to bird dog and go get the actual stuff. As soon as we got there, we canceled the actual load. Once we got in there and found out who we got the load from, we canceled the actual load. So rather than just keep waiting on the load board, because a lot of these people want to be fed strictly from the load board. Like you want to be fed strictly from the app, right? If they know they got you strictly from the app, they don't have to do business with you. They could just keep driving the price down and down and down. And as long as you are dependent on them to give you work, they could pay you whatever they want to. That has nothing to do with immigration. It could be 100% just black and white people over here, and that stuff would have went the same way. That's what I'm saying. It's really not immigration. It's competition. And as long as there are people who are willing to work for a lower wage, like even if you didn't have Sikhs and Arabs over here, there's still like I'm sorry, people from the African continent who would still run for 75 cents a mile just to keep their truck running. That didn't have nothing to do with all these influx of actual Latinos and stuff coming over here, even though they are driving truck, but there's also a lot of legal immigrants who are actually unskilled labor who are driving trucks. So when you got an army of people who's willing to work for free, it doesn't matter if I'm not willing to go get my own business. It doesn't matter. That's why I'm saying it's not really that much of a problem once you understand what the particulars are. I understand how it's affecting you personally because you see this shit on a daily basis, especially when you look at your W-2. You figure out how you're trying to get through the week, but at the end of the day, there's a lot more other stuff that's going on too.
And if I may to add to his point real quickly, one, Uber is a private company. That
Yes.
private company is currently and has disrupted the traditional models of ride hailing, taxis, etc., and now the courier business that worked very differently 30, 40 years ago, which was a straightforward, I hire you to take this package from point A to point B, and that person would get paid for that. Now, that disruption has generated a clear situation. Out of the 50 states, how many regulate or impose regulations and labor protections again for Uber drivers? None of them. Pretty much zero. Uber right now is a free market that has no form of being regulated in matters of protection of those interests, like you said, my friend. I understand where you're coming from, but United States is not the only place that Uber is at. It's everywhere. I hear we have Uber here, and we have the similar problems. So the problem resides in that the internal failure of the states, as well as the federal sense, to regulate, to point to put to put the limitations on how that business works. I don't know
Yeah,
if I'm
I mean,
even wrong.
I get that his stuff is down, but it's not because of immigration. It's because the company got greedy and they have a whole bunch of people who want to work
Mhm.
for free. It has nothing to do with immigration. Like, look, there can be not a lot of Latinos come over here, and he can still lose along the same lines. As long as you are dependent on them to give you actual the ability to work, you're gonna fucking lose eventually, as soon as you
Another
come.
day we could have a long conversation about how in the last 10, 15 years migration has incremented towards the United States, what are the factors, etc. I can gladly provide a whole sit down
No,
with the
no, no. That
evidence, etc.
that that's fine, man. But let's get back to this Trump thing. What's going on,
Yeah.
Mike?
Oh, not much, man. What's going on?
Not much, man. So what's your analysis on the actual the actual verdict that that it came back so fast? One and two that he was found guilty on everything.
Well, it's exactly that. I mean, they had all of the evidence in their face, and his voice on record,
Yeah.
pretty much synced it for him. And so this will not be the last, but it is the first of a long list of convictions that's going to take place this year. I don't see him getting out of any of them. I think the Letitia James case um, was the first warning shot, and now this as well is a warning to everybody else that is down with him. That for the most part, this is going to be the course of action. Everybody who said he was a Teflon Don and he can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. Not exactly. Not exactly.
I mean, his kryptonite is actually going to court and actually explaining himself.
Yeah.
Saying all this stuff like, oh, I'm gonna get on the actual I'm gonna get on the actual thing and testify against it. Like comes up, then testify.
But
Three or four cases in a row.
what's interesting is that there were a lot of people in the black manosphere who were saying, um, this is never going to go anywhere. They'll never do anything to him. Now you can't find any of those people who were on those panels, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, talking about that. Where are those people now?
I mean, but that was the
Silencio.
precedent. I mean, that was the
Silence.
precedence, though. I mean, but that was the precedent because we couldn't see a court trial because you didn't see all the legal maneuvers and wrangling that he kept doing to kept pushing these things back. And then, like, people just kept thinking that, oh, well, why did they wait almost to an election? Because he wanted to make it an election issue so he could play the victim rather than just he could have went to court years ago if that's what they wanted to do. But he decided to push these things back, not the court system. The court system has to follow rules like everybody else.
Facts.
All right, what's going on, Quizzer Prince? Are you there?
Inquisitive Prince, you're up.
All right, man. Let's keep going.
I think he may be mute.
So what is your actual prediction on the actual time, uh, the outcome of what the judge is going to sentence him for to go?
The time, I think, I was listening to Bragg. He said that he's trying to put him in jail. He's trying to put this guy in jail. Of which putting a president in prison, what kind of prison are you going to put him in? And I'm not too crazy about that either. Some house arrest or something. But I think the time frame we're going to be looking at this is going to be within the next. It's tough, man, but I'm going to say within the next 6 months.
The judge actually said that sentencing is going to happen July
11th.
11th. So my analysis is one. I expect to see a sentencing of a mid-range for every count. So every count, I would say 2 years max. So 34 times 2, 60 some odd years in that sense. Potentially. I based on my own bias of the systems here in Latin America, I would assume that there's going to be a deferral of the sentence, and that he may not go to jail, but we may see him be
House arrest.
house arrest. Um, that I see it as a high potential, um, and I also see the potential. This was pretty much a penal process. So I don't see any civil retribution, but the door being open for then the prosecutors to demand a civil process to charge him money. In that sense. So I do see that this whole thing is gonna f him up for a while, and it's gonna be on the forefront of his campaign. I have no doubt that he will be able to continue to campaign even after the sentencing happens, mainly because sentencing happens and you're gonna go to an appeal, and that appeal may take what, a year, 2 years,
Yeah.
depending.
All right. So here's the process on that. He can't appeal right away because he hasn't been sentenced. He has to be sentenced, and it has to go to
Uh-huh.
the
Yep.
New York Court of Appeals. Then 6 months to a year, whether or not they uphold it or not. Let's assume that they uphold it. Then he has to go to the Court of Appeals for the United States Court of Appeals, and that's going to take another
six
6
months
to
Yeah.
12 months. But after that, but they get to say in each one of those things whether he goes to jail right away or whether he gets to stay out pending the actual outcome of it. I think his sentence is going to be suspended. I think it's going to be a year kind of suspended or whatever. I think it's going to be imposed once the election season is actually over. Whatever it's going to be, I think he's going to stay out during the appeals process.
Mhm.
And now you have to understand that's this case. Now that he's a 34 convicted felony person, he's going to get max time for every case that he gets after this. This is not the case that you want to go first. This is
I,
a
I
case that you want to go last.
I'm a bit behind on the Georgia issue. I know about Finance Willis situation, but I'm not. I haven't in the last 3-4 weeks. I haven't really focused on that. What's the status on the Georgia situation?
No, I mean, since they tried to, sass her on the stand or whatever, she
Hmm.
said that she was ready to go. Now she was shooting for an August actual trial date, and that's the last thing that we've heard. We haven't heard anything else other than her trying
Okay.
to move the actual court date up for August. That's why no one has ever even talked
And
about the actual Georgia case.
is he facing another case in Florida, or am I wrong?
No, the the Florida case is not going on before the election period.
Oh, okay. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
we
that.
did.
Mm.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Hard to keep
Yes.
up because he's got what, like 10, 20,
Yeah, but
20.
he playing these cases off against each other in actual court. So it's like once you become a 34 convicted felon person, you get max time on everything else that happens after that. You have the first, this is his first time and 34 convictions. Are like, yeah, man, you're not going to get that benefit of the doubt with all the rest of those cases. And I'm telling you right now, this was a case I thought that was on the teeter totter. He's not getting out of the actual records case. There is absolutely no defense for the records case, none whatsoever. You
No
signed an
defense.
affidavit saying that you gave back classified information and they raided your place and you have the actual classified information, you don't have a case.
I,
You just
I
don't have one.
I don't know if you've just a day ago a video came out about a man who was going to trial because his license was suspended, and he was going to join through Zoom. When he appeared, he was driving in
Oh
front of
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
judge.
We're not
Yeah,
talking about the case.
no, no,
We're not
no.
talking.
What I was going to use that example is that the things that Trump did to delay and belay the process and belittle the process is now functioning against him, and it's exactly like this guy who appeared in front of the judge driving while on a process because of a license. It's exactly the same thing. It backfired on him in every sense, way, shape, form possible. He wanted to
That guy
delay. He
could have
wanted to
waited
delay.
3 minutes and parked, got out of the car, but he didn't have enough sense to even do that. He told the
Yeah.
judge that he was driving to go park. That's just stupid. But
He's
all
supposed
right. So
he's supposed to be red pill. I don't know.
yeah, apparently being red pill help you make those stellar decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that ideally, the cases that you're not going to get that much time in this type of situation, you want it to go last. The
Mhm.
things that you're going to get the most time in, you want those things to go first. Because the 34 count indictment thing, yeah, he probably would have got all 4 of those years, but all those other cases with max 20, 25 years, you've already been a convicted felon already. You're not going to get a stay. You're not going to get a slap on the wrist with that stuff, man. You're not going to. So this is what Black Avenger. Today, the biggest winner is actually yes, whoever they're going to try to ship this guy with, because I think the actual media is lying to people. You can't. He has to go on the campaign trail as a 34 count felony indicted person. What are you going to talk about across the country? You have to debate Joe Biden in June. Something that you asked for, you negotiated for. So what are you going to do? Jump out of the debates now? It's like, dude, I hate
Wow.
to want to give Grifter advice, but dude, you got to have planned this better. He hired competent defense, and then he didn't even let them defend him. They put on a show that Donald Trump wanted to see, and that stuff doesn't work in the courtroom.
That's why I said it was a bad defense. They let
It was.
if at the end of the day, if you can't run your defense the way you want to run it, you got to step off. Okay, you get somebody else to do it, because that was not good for him. That's not good. Wasn't good for him,
Yes.
and things did not turn out the way he wanted. That's why I said you can talk about all kind of things, but at the end of the day, 34 zilch. Shut up.
And this is the lightest case that he has.
The
The
lightest,
lightest.
The
the
lightest.
lightest,
So now he's
and
going to get max on every other case that comes forward.
the case,
He's
and
not.
in Georgia, they got him on tape.
He's
They
not
They
going to
got
got
be
him
him
able
on
on.
to
tape.
avoid. He's not going to be able to avoid the Georgia versus Trump case. That's just impossible at
No,
this
he's
He's
point.
not going
not.
to be able to.
No
No.
way he's going to be able to avoid that. No
No,
way.
no. I think.
He's
I
going to get
think.
max time for that. He's going to get max time for that.
Well, keep in
Whatever the
mind.
max is.
Keep in mind, MOT. The first presidential debate is next month. 3 weeks from now,
Yeah,
he'll be
go.
going into the
June.
case. He'll be going into the debate with this hanging over his head.
Oh, and Biden is going to take all opportunity to use that against him on that particular
Oh, of
debate.
course.
He's not gonna let it go in that sense.
Anybody
A
would.
lot of confused.
Trump would use it against
Anybody
Biden.
would.
The
Yeah.
campaign ads have already started against him. I don't know if you've seen the Lincoln Project. Most of these
Mhm.
campaign ads are bombing all over Trump right now. I don't see how he's going to be able to walk away from this. It's a big blemish on his record. I thought January 6th was a big blemish, but this is a really, really big blemish because he's been convicted. And January 6th, he was not convicted. And so be interesting to see how the debate turns out with regards to this guy having 34 felony convictions on stage, trying to be, the next president, trying to make the case. How do you make the case at this point?
So let me give you a quick analysis of something that I've been thinking in and popped into my head in this sense. With this conviction, we know that in politics, things like this either fuel or deflate. Now, what I can see from the MAGA side, from the cultists, from all those guys that Trump, I do think that there has been a refueling because a sense of betrayal, etc. So I do expect an increment of aggressive campaigning from the MAGA side, utilizing their usual rhetoric. I don't think that the Democrats are ready or entirely ready for that. But that fueling may be a short-lived type of fueling, because the pressure of what happened today and the pressure that will eventually happen in the next few cases will start weighing heavy into the whole thing. I'm not, for me, in the vision of the United States, bipartisan model has died and it has to change. Neither Democrats or Republicans are enough anymore, but that's another discussion. In the matter of Trump, um, mala hierba nunca muere. Bad herb doesn't die. That's a saying in Spanish.
Yep.
And in my perspective, I do see the big possibility that even if, with all this heavyweight that is happening, with this weight, that the MAGA cult of personality is fueled. I may be wrong, but I'm seeing those signs happening there.
I don't see those people budging, man. Listen, man. Like if January 6th didn't budge you, this doesn't affect you.
Or that depends on who you're asking, MOT. If you're asking the people that's been, convicted for January 6th, those
Oh,
people have
those
a
people,
different,
yeah.
yeah, they have a different sort of perspective about whether or not they'll go back out there. And you've asked some of those people who tried to run up in the FBI facilities up
Yeah.
in Cincinnati and some of these other places. I think that they would have a different opinion as well. They like to trade places with Trump, for where they are right now, for some of them. And so I do think that there may be that 1 to 1.5% margin of error, for that base that may not come out for Trump. We saw what happened in 2020 when a lot of people who did come out in 2016 ended up not coming out in 2020 for Trump. They decided to go with Biden this time around, or they decided to stay home. The couch is a real thing, and you still have a lot of disaffected people who decided that they may not even participate with the Republican either party. They may go third party. So
Yeah, that's good for them. Ramil, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I just interesting conversation. I just wanted to ask a couple questions in regards from the trial from you guys. Do you guys think that Trump got a constitutional trial?
Constitutional? No, I mean this was a state trial. State trial. He had the option to call the witnesses. The only witness that he brought up blew up his whole case. I think that was real questionable, given that that guy's friends with some people that's actually in the court. I think it was probably a stunt that was injected in there that can maybe have something that goes over on appeal. But the fact that he didn't call any other witnesses, I think that's on him. He had a competent defense. They called all the people there that were supposed to be called. He was going to go down for this because Michael Cohen already did time for this. And in the same indictment, Donald Trump was co-conspirator number one because he was the one who ordered it. So if this case would have went on in like 2018, I think that's when Cohen went down, 2018. Yeah, he would have been found guilty then. Of all these things, he would have been found just as guilty then as he would have been found guilty now. Because it's all the same players are still alive. You have David Pecker, the
and all the
guy who was
evidence.
buying these. Yeah, the same evidence. You have David Pecker, the guy at the National Enquirer who was actually with Donald Trump, um, buying out these stories that he knew that was out there and killing the stories before they became something. You still have Hope Hicks, a person who was in the actual inner circle of it. You have Michael Cohen, a person who was actually in the inner circle and the person who actually took the check and actually did the things. And so all
His
these
personal
people,
attorney. That's his
yeah, his
personal
personal
attorney.
attorney. So
Personal
so
attorney.
all this stuff is still it still wouldn't have mattered where it would have went on then or now. He just would have been just as guilty because Michael Cohen was guilty.
And real quickly, in that sense, you were saying, did he receive a constitutional trial? There's no such thing as a constitutional trial.
Yeah, no, it
If
isn't. It isn't.
you're referring that if he received the constitutional
So
protections
you don't have
for a
constitutional
trial,
rights? I'm confused. You don't.
no,
Are you
no,
saying
hold
when you
on.
go to trial, you don't have constitutional
If
rights?
your question can be translated to: did Trump receive constitutional protection for due process in a trial? And the answer
Yeah.
is
That's yes,
yes.
Is that
absolutely.
yeah?
He,
That's yeah. You're right. Yeah. Did he get due process? That's what I'm asking.
yes.
Yes. Well, actually, he got more than due process
Yeah, he got
because
a
he
lot of
used the
leverage.
excuse that he was president of the United States, and that's how come he didn't go to trial for like 5 years later until after everybody
But they didn't
already
charge
served their
him
time.
till recently. No. That's not true. They
What's not
just
true?
charged him. They waited. They had. That's why they had to do a felony because the
No, I
felony
mean it was a
enabled them.
sealed indictment. It was a sealed indictment for a while.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with the due process, I was just asking because there was just some things like how the judge's daughter literally worked for the president for Kamala Harris and Biden. Like she literally was working for their marketing teams and raising money based off of this. So would that be a conflict of interest if the judge's daughter is
What
invested
they
in a
got to do
Democrat
with?
party?
I mean, what that's the.
I
I
mean,
mean,
they put up the
not being
statute as well.
funny.
The
That's
statute
a very
said
asinine. What he is a
the
judicial
the
branch of
statute said
government.
if a judge's family is involved in any shape or form, that it's a conflict of interest. That's what
You got to
this.
do judicial, legislation, and executive branch of government. This is judicial.
Yeah,
That
the
has
judge's
nothing to
daughter
do.
was raising money for the Biden campaign of Kamala
That's
Harris.
the executive branch. That's something completely different. See, this
They're the
what
same party.
it doesn't matter.
No,
It
it
Well,
doesn't
does
matter.
because
No, it
wait.
she's
doesn't.
working for the opposite
Hold on a
presidential
second.
candidate.
All right. So here's the thing: if she was the actual judge, yes, but she as a private citizen can work wherever she wants to.
No, but the law
Thank
says
you.
the judge's daughter. It just said anybody in the judge's immediate family. That's why it's going to get turned on appeal. Anybody in the judge's immediate family that is tied to any aspect of the case renders a conflict of
So
interest.
let me put it in this way: the burden of proof has to be done from the Trump side to prove one, that the daughter had direct decisional uh, capacity within the trial, that
Yeah.
it was her action that then influenced the jury to try the way it did. That's a high bar to prove in that sense. Second, the idea that because of a daughter of a judge has its own life, its own political interest, and it does its own political aspect, and then turn around and say, because your daughter works with the Democrats, therefore you are working for the Democrats, it's also
Even
absurd.
if she comments on a case
Because
directly and raises
because
money
because
directly,
then we would have to argue in the broad sense that the sins of the sons and daughters are the sins of the fathers and the mothers, and that doesn't entirely work in every circumstance in life.
so it has. You think that has
And
no basis in this? You said
no,
it
None
doesn't work in
No,
whatsoever.
every
no,
circumstance. Does
now
it have
Ramil,
any?
I give you the benefit of the doubt. It does sound shady, but when you have this judge down in Florida who's just completely throwing the fucking case to whether the
Okay,
case
I
won't
give you
even
that.
go
She on
forward.
some bullshit. She on some
Yeah,
bullshit.
that's what I'm saying. So, look, I mean, you had like Clarence Thomas who couldn't even be kicked off of the actual none of the Supreme Court justice hearings, and this guy whole wife was texting back and forth with the White House while January 6th happened. So the the whole idea of something like that, it's like, bro, we don't
I mean,
have
I give you
a
those, but
system.
you are kind of deflecting. But you're right. Clarence Thomas is corrupt. He got a white sugar daddy. You know what I mean? But he makes some good rulings though. But he
Good
corrupt though.
rulings? Good. Wow. Good
He corrupt.
rulings?
I
well,
just have
What
to get it
rulings
out.
are
Every,
Like
every,
Ramil.
some people define good in such
He
mysterious ways.
stopped them unconstitutional jab mandates. So to me, that's incredible.
Oh, okay.
But going
All right.
back
So
to
this
your
is what,
point,
hold on, hold on, guy. It's like, all right. So here's the thing. At this point, I wish we had a system to where we had true to life conflict of interest. You off the case. Period. Even with what you're saying, I want that shit to work even worse than what you're saying. Like, okay, let's say you're under concurrent jurisdiction in the military. Any person that has anything to do with that case, nah, man, you're not testifying. No roommates, no nothing. They're gonna find another witness. They're gonna find another judge. They're gonna find clean people to do this shit. But that ain't the system that we have. It just isn't. I wish we did have that system, but that's not enough to overturn it on like an appeal, though. An
All right, I
appeal
got
has to
another
be like a
question. I know.
judicial. I go ahead.
So the other question I got, because I'm just curious, because I was just some things I not noticed. So the judge giving letting the jury not be unanimous and letting them do a 4-4-4 split. When the judge said that 4 juries can vote on one crime, another 4 can vote on the others. You guys don't have to be unanimous. Was that unconstitutional? Because I thought the jury has to
No,
be unanimous.
not necessarily, and
Not
because
necessarily. I
no,
got to
no,
hear
no,
this.
no, no. Allow me to explain.
Okay.
Because the case was not about those things in an individual manner. Those things were about the end result. The end result was he didn't want them cases to go out there. So it doesn't matter whether you believe 2 did it or 4 did it or 6 did it. The end goal is he didn't want the stuff to go out, and that's why he falsified those documents.
But why
So
doesn't he
yes,
deserve a unanimous jury? Why doesn't he deserve? That's like a basic fundamental,
no, it
especially in
ain't basic
criminal
fundamental.
trials.
It's not basic and fundamental. Shit, see, murder is still locked up because
But
there's
that's a
like 2 or 3
unanimous.
juries. No, wait, hold on. Okay, so let me give you an example. Like Louisiana, you can still go to prison with 2 or 3 people on the fucking jury voting no, because that's the way their state is set up, and the judge get to make that decision.
But in New York, that's not how. I mean, it's a unanimous. That's a different state, and in New York, it's unanimous.
Okay, well, it would be true if most of those charges were not overturned, but he was guilty on all counts. So what you're saying doesn't even apply because he was found guilty on every single count. Now, if he was like not guilty on 8 counts and like 26 of them went through, your argument would
Yeah,
actually
but
hold
those
water.
guilties could have been found on just 4 of the jurors agreeing to it based on the judge's jury instruction. We don't know the ratio of what, because they didn't need every juror on every count. He's saying that you only had to agree to 4, so that doesn't mean every jury voted for every count as that is supposed to happen. They could have
I know
literally.
because everything was a killing blow here. Everything was a killing blow here.
No, I'm saying,
Like
but we
so
don't know. We
pursuing
don't know. We literally don't know what each juror voted for because the judge allowed them to do a
we
4.
do. We do actually know that.
I mean, do you guys have a jury report? I
Wait, it
would be
was
curious.
unanimous. What do you
No,
mean?
no,
Like it
no,
was
no, no.
unanimous?
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's unanimous on all charges. That's what I'm saying. And it's like, do you
Oh, it
realize
is
before
unanimous.
they
Okay, if
even,
it is
yeah, yeah,
unanimous,
yeah,
then okay.
all unanimous on all charges. Now, when they do this for like every count, they don't just say it's unanimous. They go to every count and they go to every juror and they'll be like, "What's your vote on it?" No matter how they voted, the shit is said in an actual court, like aye or nay. No, it was all ayes on all counts on all things. No
Okay,
matter
well, if you
what
say it was
verdict is,
that, then okay, cool. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah. So no matter what verdict is put in, it's still part of the process that you call out every single count and you get guilty or not guilty for every count. That's part of the process too. Always part of the process.
Yeah,
Now,
okay.
now you would be right if they voted no on some. It was like 8 on some and 2 on one. You have a very huge point, but that's not what happened. Nah, man. They was all guilty on all counts. Everybody vote guilty on all 30 some counts, all of them.
mm.
And
Well,
go
like I
ahead.
said, I just so you guys don't, so you don't think on appeal this has no chance based on anything. Like it just
No,
gonna be clean. Like it's not gonna be
no.
no.
Well, a couple points on that sense. In regards of your two major questions, look, one thing I've learned in my years of doing politics and law, etc., anything is plausible. It all depends on how the Trump's lawyers will, paint the whole picture in their appeal. Is there a possibility for him to win the
What's
appeal?
your opinion?
Sure.
Forget the law. What you think? You think when he gets on appeal, do you think it's gonna be a chance? You think any of the issues even from what besides what I say, you think that this is just gonna be clean, like they just gonna stand up?
There's always a chance for everything and anything in this world.
What you think?
Ramil, this is the
No,
least of
no,
it.
man, we're
This is the
yeah.
least of his worries.
I understand.
George,
I'm just talking about the trial itself. We know I'm not talking about the campaign, the presidency. I'm
no,
just
no, I'm just saying that this is the least of his worries because the state of Georgia versus Trump is going to be the nail in the coffin for him.
Yes.
that is about to be. That's not. That's a federal case. They filed that in the wrong. I don't think that's going to go anywhere.
All right.
Fannie
Well, you know what?
violated federal
I guess
election
we're
law.
gonna
That's a
see.
federal. That's supposed to be
Yeah.
a federal case. That's supposed to be filed in federal court.
Why do you say that?
That's what the appeal is. They got two appeals. They got the one based on her being supposed to be not the case, and they got another one based on it's supposed to be a federal. That's supposed to be a federal case. They're supposed to go through a commission. She was supposed to go through a commission to get jurisdiction to file that case. She didn't go through the. I think it was the federal election commission. One of them
Yeah,
things. She didn't.
there's two different processes here. Like in
Mhm.
Georgia, they mimic the actual federal RICO laws. So what he's
Yeah,
under
but that
is
was a
state
state
RICO.
RICO law. They got their
Yeah, yeah,
own
yeah.
version.
He's under state RICO. So now Trump and his team was arguing it needs to be federal RICO.
But yeah, well, I don't know if that's the. I think that law she was because it's a federal election. So because it's a
Yeah, the
federal
Federal
election,
Election Commission, it's kind of like in New York, they mimic all the federal charges. Like Trump literally could have been brought up for federal charges for everything he was tried
yeah,
for
but it
in the
was a
state.
federal election. So how's she gonna bring a state RICO or whatever on a federal election?
Because
Let me press.
because of the charges, right?
Mhm.
Did he not call the Secretary of State of Georgia to
That's a
find?
federal case.
No, well, listen to what I'm saying. The evidence is overwhelming for the charges that's being presented. Whether or not you're arguing about federal is immaterial to what
Well,
the
the
charge
judge dropped a
is.
lot of them charges, so we don't know. We got to see.
For some of the defendants, not all of them.
No, for Trump, he dropped like 8 counts.
Which 8 counts?
I forgot which ones, but he said they can refile. But he did. He dropped. Ballhead dude dropped a few of them. I'm just saying like that. I'm just saying what his lawyers are saying. They're saying that that's a federal because it's a federal election. She's supposed to do. There's supposed to be some procedure she's supposed to go through that she didn't go through. I mean, she's sloppy. Y'all know if y'all don't know Fannie Willis sloppy as fuck by now. I mean that's gonna be the hardest one in my opinion. All right, this bitch. I mean,
So, if I may just address two things
I
real
mean, if
quickly,
she's sloppy, you ain't been to courtrooms and across.
Mm.
I don't know. I
that's a
mean,
sloppy ass bitch.
So
Y'all good luck with that one.
well, I
That's all I gotta
mean,
say.
Okay, cool. All right, D, go with your
yeah, I want to
rebuttal.
address 2 points, my friend. You brought up the issue of the recommendations of the judge in regards of the Trump trial. Um, Judge Merchant never gave those particular instructions that you were saying. He said, and I quote from the news, and one example of the news I had, he stated to the jury that must conclude unanimously that a defendant conspired to promote or prevent the election of any person to public office by unlawful means, adding that they need not be unanimous as to what those unlawful means were. So when he referred that not need not to be unanimous, he was referring to the means, but
The,
not
the
to
how,
the
the
decisions
how.
To me,
of the
that's
jury.
crazy. That's crazy.
That's not
No, no,
crazy.
no. All right, so
It's
this is
So
what it
what do
is.
you?
retarded.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That's
All right,
crazy to me.
it's kind of like this. There are people who got arrested and charged and put in prison for attempted murder on somebody who was already dead, right?
But they usually
In
charge
the
with
same
murder too, as well.
correct. But if the person was already dead, they'd be charged with attempted murder. Now, the how they did the shit would still be murderous, but it doesn't matter. The intent was that's what the intent was. But
Exactly.
for
So
yeah, the outcomes is what they're actually trying to get. It doesn't matter how you get to the outcome, whether it was paying it off, whether it was sequestering the story, whether it was catch and kill for the actual story, buying the story and shutting them down. No matter what it was, the means that he was trying to do, the overall thing was to get in the office and not have these things hurt him in the process.
So basically, that point is jury was deciding, did he commit the crime? Yes. The means that didn't matter. So that
Yeah,
point
yeah,
of
yeah.
it.
How
The
does the
how didn't
means
matter.
not matter? Like that is like so the elements. So now we're taking elements out of. I think the jury. The jury might have been that might
That
be
that's how the
some
law.
unfair.
That's how law is established, and that's how the
Now,
prerogative in
now, Ramil, like
in
you
jury
would be
is.
right. Like okay, like Ramil would be right if one person or two persons said no for every one of the 34 counts.
Okay, but
Then
those
Ramil would
instructions
have
though, those
yes, those
instructions
are
are not like
no,
unconstitutional. Those jury instructions aren't unconstitutional.
no, they're not. Like
No.
what the judge
Okay.
was only worried about was the outcome.
Why is the judge worried about the outcome? The judge should be worried about the fairness of the trial. The prosecutor and defendant should be worried about the outcome. Why is the judge worried about the outcome?
No, it's just that that's how this works in this case.
So
What
judges
So
what
that's
they're
not
trying to
judges
prove.
unfair.
hold
Okay,
on,
so what they're trying to
judges.
prove in the actual wait, hold on a second. Like what they're actually trying to prove in the actual case, which they did prove, did he do all these things to get this outcome? The outcome was these stories wasn't going to come out. He paid for a specific outcome. The how it happened, it didn't matter. The fact that he wanted this specific type of outcome, that's what he wanted. Hold on a second. Hold on.
And to answer your other riddle, judges do concern themselves with the outcome in the essence of the process of the trial to ensure that every nook and cranny is well ironed out. So judges do concern themselves with the outcome in the due process sense. The outcome, if it was guilty or not guilty, that's up to, well, in the case of the United States, that's up to the jury. In the case of other type of systems, then yes, you have to not only be observant of due process, but also of the considerations of why are you going to say somebody's guilty or not. um, Advantages, disadvantages of jury system trials, which, well, another conversation to have. But anyhow,
No,
Okay,
that's
that's
what.
but
cool,
let,
man.
let me ask
Don't worry
MOT.
about it.
MOT, do you think it's gonna be
Yeah,
clean on appeal?
yes.
Yes.
Because the appeals, you can't appeal jury instructions during the appeal.
I'm talking about the
You can't
conflict of
say the jury
interest, the other
instructions were
stuff. I'm
wrong.
talking about everything put together. You think he's gonna?
Yes.
He's gonna
So
throw
he
everything he
I know.
can.
I asked you, man. You said you earlier. You said you ain't know. You now MOT said yeah. Now you talking about some yeah. Nah. I want to hear from MOT. So do you think on appeal all the issues, you think it's gonna be clean?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the charges are going to hold up because it's unanimous across the board. Now, if some of them were 8-2, 9-1, 7-3, for a whole bunch of them, you would have a better point. But all that shit is 100% unanimous. Ooh, it's kind of hard to fucking beat that, man.
It
True.
is.
True.
Anyhow, I do have to step off, but I thank you for having
All
me.
right, cool, man. All right, man. You have a nice one.
All right, as my people say, Beshka Woblaba, pura vida. That means walk with your eyes open. Buenas noches.
All right, cool, man. Have a nice one.
There's
Yeah,
like
but
8 different languages.
So, Ditto. Oh, he's gone. All right.
yeah,
That's a good dude, man.
yeah. I mean, and look, man. You see, I came up here. It's no arguments. You can answer all the questions, and that's it. I think this shit's gonna be clean and clear. I do think that, especially with everything being unanimous across the board. Now, if there was like some charges that wasn't, I think he
And then
did.
the
I think the
procedural
whole shit would have
grounds.
been
What
a
about?
lot of.
Okay, so that's a substantial. What about the procedural grounds, like the actual? I know you're talking about the jury and the verdict, but I'm saying, do you think on a procedure wise, it's going to be clean as well?
Man, somebody got some background noise, man.
But
Okay.
I was
All
saying
right.
on the procedure side as well, the procedural side, everything will be clean.
Yes, because if it wasn't procedural, they would have brought it up in the closing arguments. There would have been tons of objections. There would have been a motion filed
When they filed the
for
motion, they got
procedural grounds.
denied. The conflict of interest, no, they got denied. They filed it. Just
No. Yeah, because those were bullshit motions. But specifically what you're talking about, like nah. But they always do like motions to dismiss and all the type of shit in every case that don't ever come to fruition. But specifically what you're asking about, if there was some procedural grounds, there ain't no way that judge would have took a chance at not actually looking at it the way it was supposed to be looked at.
that's a lot of confidence in that judge, man. That's
Because it's unanimous. That's the only reason why I'm saying it.
Yeah.
Now, if the shit wasn't unanimous, I'm like, man, I don't know, man.
I mean, yeah, true.
They
All
asked
guilty verdicts
for.
are supposed to be unanimous. So I mean, you know.
The thing
Yeah,
that we.
but
Oh, sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead, man.
Hey, I have nothing to go against. The commentary has been kind of spot on point with the unanimous part. The fact that his co-defendant was already prosecuted, found guilty. Then he brought up
that's
the
what I'm
guy that
saying.
heard his case.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then the January 6th thing, like I didn't even think about it like that. Like having this one 34 counts already. If anything happened on a Jan 6th, it's definitely.
Has he been charged with
Outta
January
here.
6th? I'm confused. Has he been
No,
charged?
no.
that
He
case coming up
hasn't
with
been
that.
charged with it yet. He hasn't been charged. He's been charged with it yet, but they're going through legal maneuvering so that way the case can't go
What case
forward.
is that? What case is that he's been charged with insurrection?
Yeah, that's the federal January 6th insurrection case.
What case is that?
DC.
It's a Fed case.
Tanya Chuck in
When
DC.
was he charged for having the insurrection on January 6th?
Okay.
That case was supposed to start in March. It didn't because he said that he had presidential immunity, and since we haven't had the actual decision for the Supreme Court yet, believe it or not, we haven't had it for the immunity.
But isn't that another case he's asking for the immunity for?
Hell yeah, he kept doing this shit for everything, but he couldn't do it for.
But he's not. That immunity case isn't that for? I don't know. I might be wrong. I don't know. Isn't that for like another?
You're talking about the stolen records?
Yes, exactly.
Wait, hold on.
I don't know.
There are three cases that are left.
Okay.
The three cases that are left is the ones for the actual immunity. The immunity that Trump is claiming that he has is for the three cases that were left. Since the New York case happened before, all this shit was before he came into office. That's how come that case was able to go forward, because the hush money payments and shit, that should happen before he was even sworn in as the president.
But he's fighting that in the Georgia case and the Florida case, right? So those are three cases he's fighting right now, right?
Georgia, Florida,
New
DC.
York, and New York.
No. New York just got over.
Yeah.
That was one of those today.
Yeah.
And then so he's fighting the Georgia and the Florida and
DC.
And DC. What's the one in DC? I lost track.
DC is the January 6th.
Okay. So my bad. No, he hasn't been convicted of the insurrection.
No, he haven't even went to trial. Because he claimed that he had presidential immunity because insurrecting was apparently part of his regular fucking duties. He actually said that shit.
It's weird, man. It's so weird, man. Just to hear people say that wasn't an insurrection.
That definitely was. That definitely was.
It's weird, but it's beautiful on his part, especially for his followers, cause they don't know which way the wind is blowing, and they just going. That's just music to their ears.
What's going to happen in that case is they're going to be like, okay, we heard all the arguments. Turns out the president don't have immunity. They're going to kick it back to the lower court, and so that way their case is not going to be able to be done before the actual election, which is what he wanted in the first place.
Right.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
So can you? Would y'all be mad if he pardoned himself?
He can't pardon himself. He's not president. Yeah, he's not president.
Yeah. He can't do that. That's not possible.
Do you think y'all don't think he's going to be president in November?
I don't.
I think he's fucked.
I don't
know. I don't know.
Biden gonna make it to. I don't even think. Honestly. The polling for Biden's so horrible that I think that they're gonna try
that's just in the trash. So I don't know.
All right,
How y'all?
I'll
What do y'all
start paying
feel about
attention to
that?
polling, like the
It's
polling
early in
right
the
now.
game. Yeah.
All right,
It's
man,
too.
you have to understand, man. This polling is meant to drive ad revenue for people to put their bullshit political ads on TV. Now, I'll start listening to polls when it comes to like mid to like third week in
Yeah.
August.
End
So
of
they're
the
not
summer.
accurate right now. You say none of them are accurate.
Nah,
End of
they
the
not.
Nah,
end
they're
of the
not.
summer.
Come
End of
It's
on,
the
we got
bullshit
season.
right
y'all
now.
gotta like every single poll that nigga Biden is even on CNN that nigga is assed out. Y'all talking about some? It's not. Come on, it's no accuracy at
It's
all to that.
but there's so many months in between
I
now
Yeah,
and
understand. I
it's
November
like
feel
with
you.
like
all
like
this shit going on, man. Who
like,
knows what
like
the fuck?
Ramil, like here's the difference,
It could
Ramil. Like
I
change.
think
It could change.
there's some truth in the polls. There's some truth in the polls right now, but things are going to change quite a bit over the next couple of months. There's a lot of game zone left, so
It's a
I'm telling you,
lot of
It is.
months.
It's a
there's
lot.
a
It's a lot
lot
of
of game
months
you,
zone
you,
left.
almost.
you
It's a
gotta
lot of
understand,
time.
man. Like we pay attention to this shit a hell of a lot more than like 99% of fucking the rest of America look at this shit, right? This shit is in our face. Them motherfuckers are doing all other types of things in life. They don't really care. They're not even looking at the actual options or the choices the way that they should be looking at right now. But once it turns August and once they start getting close, because Trump is about to go full retard in front of
Yeah,
everybody. He's
yeah,
about to
he
say
about to
the
go
most
full retard.
outlandish shit ever to draw the attention away from them 34 fucking counts of
Hell
felony.
yeah.
And plus, the appeals is going to keep that shit in people's faces. And then there's going to be a ton of motions. He's going to be doing a whole bunch of unneeded shit. Some of it going to be voted down. So it's like, dude, I don't see how he comes back from it.
I don't see how he comes back from, like, I know you saying the Supreme Court gonna have to decide about the immunity, but from what I heard is that some of them documents that he had was like locations of nuclear
Yes.
subs and shit like that. And what
That's
he
what I'm
did,
saying. Like, that case alone by itself, there's no defense for it, which is
yeah,
the reason why she's taking the. But you can't, if you can get any judge kicked off a case, it would be her. The fact that she is not kicked off the case is a testament to how hard it is to get a judge kicked off of anything.
yeah, yeah.
And I think she don't want the case to go forward because she don't want to die over this motherfucker getting convicted. She
I
can kick this
think
shit the can down the road as far as she wants to until they decide to just get her ass the fuck off the case. And if she's just trying to preserve her life for just for that reason, I totally get why the fuck she's doing it that way.
you
Because
mentioned.
I don't think
Oh, go ahead.
this judge is safe. I think they're gonna dox the fuck out of these juries as soon as they able to do so. I think somebody's gonna do something to one of these jurors, man. And once that happens, he ain't gonna be able to talk no more shit no more. He ain't gonna be able to threaten nobody no more. He ain't gonna be able to do nothing. They gonna have to lock his ass up the moment he steps out of line, bro. They gonna have to.
You think they gonna lock him up? You think Trump going? He doing jail time?
If
He's,
somebody
he's
dies,
skirting the line. He's
if
skirting the line. Tough as a
If
motherfucker.
somebody gets lit up, they might have, like you said, if
He's
That
yeah.
got
skirting
nothing.
the
That
if,
had
line.
They're
nothing to
gonna
do with
have
him though. That he can't
somebody
put that
goes
on
six
him.
feet south, we may be looking at a problem here. But on the
And
whole,
especially if he lose
they
the
don't want to
election.
lock up a
If
president. They
you
don't.
can't put that on
They,
him if something happened to a
they
juror.
don't want to put a president under. Hey, listen, this guy ran out there January 6th, told people meet me me at the Capitol, bro. I mean, where his lawyers had to get on the phone and say, you better get up off here and call your people back because
Yep.
you're going to
I
put
mean,
yourself
yeah, I agree that shit was dumb as
directly in
hell. I
line
don't
with this
understand
shit.
why that January
So,
6th shit
so
was some retarded shit. Like, I mean, that's
well, not a lot
and,
of people see it that way. Not a lot of people see.
Not
and
a
here's the thing,
Not a lot of people
Ramil,
saw
like
it as being
here's the other
retarded.
thing, Ramil. He could have did none of that. He could have surfed right into the fucking presidency with no problem. If he did
yep.
not, none of the shit he did,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
could
He
easily
didn't
be
have
the
to do
next
that.
fucking
He didn't have to do
president.
that.
He would
Easily be
be,
the next president of the
yeah,
United States.
guaranteed. He would have been locked by now. Like Biden is giving him every man. That dude is a
That
horrible.
dude would be ahead by 10 fucking points if Trump, like, the actual
Between the
hush money shit
economy, the
probably wouldn't have been
wars.
that big of a deal. But the fact that he did January 6th, dude, they were looking for all type of other things to get this dude on.
I'm gonna tell you another thing too. These debates, these are gonna be some humdingers,
Oh
bro.
my god.
It ain't gonna be
These
no
gonna be
debate.
some humdingers, dude.
Biden
And
ain't
I
finna.
He fucking
Biden
signed
ain't
up
finna
for a
and
debate,
debate.
dude. Now that
and I'm
dude
telling you,
is crashing out.
Biden is gonna come in there. He's gonna come in there, and he's gonna be a bit of a surprise for a lot of people.
Trump
So
is
I do gotta ask.
so upset, bro. He ain't gonna be able to handle himself.
Y'all think Biden is like mentally like
No.
astute? Like you think?
No, I do not. But I do think he's playing a little bit.
I don't think we really need him to. I mean, as long as he hires competent fucking people, like that's what that is, man.
Hey, listen. I saw the
we
most
don't need him to be
president.
Competent. I think we need a president to be competent.
Let me say
that's why I don't believe in neither one of them, man.
I think we need mental capacity
for incompetent
president.
Hold on a second. I saw the most incompetent president out there. I saw President Reagan. I said no, President Reagan. So I mean, I remember when I was coming out of college, and ultimately we saw one of his last debates that he had with Fritz Mondale, where the man did not know where the fuck he was, and it was an embarrassing. I mean, it was embarrassing just to see, that this is your president. That here's a guy that basically has Alzheimer's, and he's up in here, hey, I mean, talking like he didn't know where the fuck he was,
But like MOT just said, he had
but
the
of
right
course,
people around him.
But of course, but of course, white people, white people, really love this guy, and that was it. Didn't make a difference as to whether or not he was, literally not in charge of his faculties anymore. And there's no way that this guy Biden is like Reagan. Now, some of y'all weren't around here then. I know Ramil and all that. You guys weren't born yet.
Yeah, I didn't see Reagan. I didn't see Reagan.
No. You weren't born yet. You were still in the ether. But
well, I was out. I was young.
Awesome prayers, man. Awesome prayers, man.
But during that time, I was hard rolling watching this. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable looking at this. So I've seen this before.
So wait, it was worse than Bush, the younger Bush?
Yeah.
I mean, the younger Bush was just an asshole. He was a stupid motherfucker.
That was man.
But I mean, I hate to say it, put it like that. It just was what it was. But I'm talking about Reagan was out of it, where this guy, I'm sure he didn't even know what state he was in. So
I mean,
it was like that. So I'm just saying, I've seen this, and I'm gonna say Biden is nowhere near where Reagan.
And the kicker is, it was a psychic that was giving Nancy and Ronald advice on how to run the country, and that's how they was running it.
Yeah, they had a whole lot of things, but Ronnie wasn't really. But Ronnie wasn't really running things. After a while,
yeah,
you had the Bush Senior, and you had.
Didn't you have Cheney in there?
Yeah.
Darcy and Rumsfeld was Rumsfeld part of that cabinet?
Yeah. They were all in it. Well,
they were younger members.
Wasn't Kissinger part of that cabinet?
Hold on a second. Rumsfeld and weren't so much in there. Those guys.
It was low levels.
They were part of the. They were part of the establishment. But they weren't, you had Cap Weinberger and those guys in there who kind of run the things, and the Secretary of State he passed on. Why am I forgetting his name now? But you had a slightly different crew, but all those guys came out of that camp, and that camp was the Nixon group that still stayed around, and those guys ended up floating upfield, you know what I mean, in the Republican Party, and kind of handle it that way, but. Ronald Reagan was his last term. He wasn't competent, bro. And his wife was determining who could see him and who couldn't see him.
Also, the same thing is prevalent now. These people don't care if they didn't care if Ronald Reagan lost his mind. Just like they don't care what Trump do. They don't
care about Biden either.
Lie. I'm just saying this is something traditional that all have been going back for years, and mainly on the right. Well, we don't care what our candidate do, what he say, how he do it. This is our man. We're gonna stick with him. We're gonna lie, cheat, and steal, and kill for him. It is what it is. They always have, and they always will be like that.
Well, in all honesty, I kind of feel like Obama was from Chicago. I'm from Chicago. Like, even if it was a Republican that came out of Chicago, I'd be voting for him or anybody. It doesn't matter as long as you bring it back to the city. So I kind of agree with that part.
Pritzker ain't no fucking Democrat either, but
Who, Pritzker?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I mean, yeah. All right.
You
No,
know
no,
it's
let's get
about
out of there, man. Yeah. Let's get out of there. But no matter what it is, what is your actual prediction, David Drencher? Oh, what is going to happen in November?
So as it stands right now, Biden will win, you know. But that's dependent upon
Caveats,
the wars.
caveats. Okay.
But that's dependent upon the wars not getting worse, us not falling into a super huge recession. Like we in recession now. But if the bottom fall out the market, all bets are off. He might not even be running. Like I'm more leaning towards both of these people probably may not even be on the you might not even be deciding
It's
between
too
either
late
one.
in
God
the game for
damn,
that.
man.
That's how I
Damn, man.
see
You
it.
want to put these dudes
Okay.
away, man.
Like Trump
Nah,
Trump Trump
that's
is
gonna
Trump is
happen.
one step away from being off the ticket. And then it's so much geopolitically happening with Biden that I'm seeing spiral out. If the economy get worse, because the markets are dropping right now. Like tomorrow is the telltale sign to see if there's any type of legs to hold a bottom from free fall. You know what I mean? That's what everybody's looking at. So if this economy get worse, it's already messed up. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough, man. It's tough.
Well, the jobs numbers and so forth are not really backing up, the claim of the economy is falling out of it.
Shoot.
So the numbers
Okay. They're
the
revising
numbers
it.
are not the numbers are not
No,
there.
they always
Uh,
revise it like a couple months later.
Thank you.
Because
Thank
But
they
you.
go off
yeah, yeah. So
but
ADP
Thank
numbers,
you.
but they
which I
do
think
have
is a
the
stupid
we'll
way
see.
of doing
go
it
ahead.
in the first place is depending on the private company to actually tell you what the fucking jobs numbers are. They should have cleaned this shit up years ago. I don't
Yeah.
like the ADP numbers and the revising the shit months later. I think that's a dumbass fucking way of doing it. We should have a more verified way of doing this shit by now. But that's the best system that we have currently at this point. I mean,
Right. And
But
We have to go. We have to go with payroll receipts. We have to go. We have.
oh
yeah.
yeah, of course we do. Of course we do.
And
We got to go with that. We
they're
got to
not
go with those
super
numbers.
strong. They're not telling you growth. They're telling you, all right, man, we're maintaining. Just don't get worse.
No.
When you get three to four,
It is
You're off.
broken down
revisions.
by industry though. It is broken down by industry.
Yeah, it is, and you're off because we did see in this last the last month, the last numbers we did have, we saw altogether close
Hold on,
to
we
close
got
to
Google. We got
close
Google.
to close to 300,000, I think. So we
Here
should
we
be looking
go.
at because I kind of get the numbers. So the numbers
Monthly
actually came
calendar.
out. The numbers came out a little bit better than what
Here
was
we go.
expected.
All right,
So
all right.
I
Cool.
mean,
Let's go with
don't.
the Inquisitive Prince. Question for you because we're about to get up out of here.
Okay.
What is your prediction for the election? Good or bad?
Well, to me, it don't make no difference. But I believe Trump might pull it out by the hair of his chin and chin chin because I see a lot of you got his base. It ain't going nowhere. A lot of people upset at Biden. I mean, I don't see what the
I don't
problem is.
understanding the upset at Biden shit. I don't understand that because the
Yes.
upset at Biden shit.
I mean, this
If
is
they actually use any of these critical faculties when Trump was in office, then they would be super upset at
yes.
this dude. But they didn't
I
give a fuck.
mean,
It's like
who
I
slow
think they're personally
who's
just looking for a reason though. I don't even
yeah.
trust most of them.
They I mean, who shut down the country for COVID? They'll blame Biden for it when it was Trump who shut down the country. Who created
I
this
mean,
shortage
if you
problem
listen
on
to
manufacturing? They'll blame Biden for something. I mean, it was like in '07, same thing. Or Obama, look,
Right. When
that was
he
Bush.
inherited a fucking
I
yeah,
mean,
I know.
even going back years ago, Reagan and I mean, you inherit stuff and they quit to flip the switch on. Oh, it's the dip. Look. I do I. Oh, we so anti-war, but if it, yeah, I say again, if it was on the right, if they was in presidency, the war is the best thing ever for this country.
Oh no,
It
like the
just
same people who are upset at this war had no problem with the Iraq and Afghanistan war. That's why I don't
no,
even pay
even they
attention to
ain't
these stupid
found.
motherfuckers.
I spent 18 months over there. They ain't found a firecracker or something that resembled weapons of mass destruction, but it was just the right thing to do. What?
Yeah,
But
at the time. Yeah.
and then it's. But I believe, but the way people, I mean, they misinformed. I mean, I don't know what people read or something or what they see. I mean, so many people
The
are
shit is
upset.
hereditary, man. Like a lot of these people are off the cuff. They don't want to read shit. They're waiting for somebody to interpret them. That they like entertainment wise. They hope they do politics so that way they could just be
Yeah,
armchair. I don't think they really even know who they represented by or any of that other shit. That's why I'm glad that I
no,
live in an
they
area that
more.
fucking works.
I live in North
Yeah.
Carolina, and they more worried about Nancy Pelosi in California. Who your congressman? Mine, Mark Hudson. I know who mine is. Who is yours? Well, that Nancy Pelosi, man. Well, y'all. I mean, it's stuff like that a lot of people they just I don't know, but I can see stuff, and but hey, I can't change nobody's mind. I mean, being a truck, like people don't like immigration. Do I agree with it? No. I believe they should do better, a little bit better, more of you know vetting but yet still, who gonna do these jobs? Cause hey, you see it, y'all see it. You
I
go to
mean,
some of
but
these
people don't
towns, it's
even know
like
what. Yeah, but people
it's
don't even know what illegal immigration is. Like people who went through the court system, who are here receiving services, they went through the fucking court system. They're not like people who just showed up here from Mexico. They're not the same fucking people. Like they're conflating everybody who they see as an immigrant and fucking working as a person who is here illegally, and that's not the fucking case, and it never has been. But
and
Nagone,
and
wait, no, we got to get up out of here. Nagone, what is
Yeah.
your actual prediction for the election,
Oh, boy, this is
given
a
what
tough
just
one.
happened today?
This is a tough one. Things could go either way, but right now I'm going to just stick with the numbers. When I say the numbers, just looking at how many presidents have been reelected as president, and how many haven't. So out of 46, we've had 40 really kind of make it and make it pretty clearly. So I'm gonna go with the numbers. I'm gonna go with the incumbent. As of right now, that could change, but right now I'm gonna go with the incumbent. Given all things being equal currently, that's kind of what I'm gonna go with right now. I'm going with
Yeah,
the incumbent. I'm going with the incumbent.
yeah. My only thing is U.S. allowing Ukraine to openly use the fucking weapons that we have. I think that is some shit he should have never said out in the fucking public. They should have just did that shit and just kept fucking denying it. I don't know why on earth he would even fucking say some shit like that. I don't get the play of who he's actually going towards with something that's something that you just shouldn't have fucking said. So when it goes bad, because it will, you
What you
know.
talking about? What Ukraine?
No, our United States military weapons that they're
Oh yeah,
allowing
yeah,
Ukraine to fucking use, you should
yeah,
have
yeah.
never fucking said this shit out loud. It should have never came out of his fucking mouth. But that's just him, man.
Can I say one quick economic theory? It's 10 seconds. I kind of just figured it out last week when you were saying something about war, the war. It's real fast.
All right, go ahead.
What I figured out is that China doesn't want these wars to happen right now because they need people to buy their goods to keep funding their military so they could be ready to do what they're gonna do with their military. The US is saying, well, the American consumer, we don't want them to fund the Chinese military, but we can't stop them from buying. They're just consumers. However, a lot of these purchases are financed. So we're just going to raise these interest rates as high as possible and keep back and forth backpedaling, never pulling them down. And since most of the interest is paid to U.S. banks, they figure we'll get more, we'll capture more American spending and keep it in the economy, and there'll be less in number of Chinese goods because we only got a certain amount of money. That's it.
All right, cool, man. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming through. The man tomorrow. Some breakdown of this actual situation here with Trump being guilty on all 34 counts. I don't think he's going to jail at all. But this does set up for every single court case that he does go through after this, they're going to slam his ass to the wall. This is not the case that you wanted to go first, bro. Because no matter what the actual sentence is, it was going to be all concurrent. So let's say that he just get community service or whatever. It's 34 counts of community service, all concurrent. Now, all these other felony trials, they're going to give your ass max time for it. And we're talking about max time is 10 and 20 and 50 years with the rest of the shit that's left on the table, not counting the Georgia thing. Now, the Georgia thing is the easiest case to understand. You have a tape for that. And it's a conspiracy, which means you don't have to actually convince everybody of everything that happened. The only thing you need is the outcome and the result, just like this case. Now, the federal cases, I think the Supreme Court may try to do something to sabotage those cases, but I don't know. It's too much in the air. But this ain't a case that he wanted to be convicted of first. I can tell you that much. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for coming through. And man, tomorrow you guys have a really nice day. Make sure you like the video upon leaving or even during the restream. You guys have a nice one. Later.